Oh, can't burp. What's wrong with me?
You've always had that problem. You've never been able to burp.
I've been able to burp.
No, like from birth, just lacked that ability.
Well, that's not true at all. I've been good at burping.
So just so I know, your improvisational style is no, never. It's not yes and. It's absolutely
never.
not.
Yes, no, never's the new yes and.
How you been? Happy New Year. Happy 2022.
Yeah, shit. It's all happening, man. I tell you what, all happening.
What's happening?
Like a bunch of my friends have COVID.
Really?
I might have COVID right now, to be honest.
Because you were hanging out with the friends who now have COVID.
Yeah.
So
how many people?
I
think I'm good.
Okay.
There were 3 people, actually 2 people that have since tested positive, but my housemates are in ISO at the moment with symptoms but not having results back.
You are in the house with your housemates.
Correct.
Who are symptomatic with something ambiguous.
Yeah.
That's creepy. How are you feeling?
I'm fine. I have no symptoms. I've been doing rapid, what are they called?
Rats?
Rapid antigen tests.
Yep, you've been sucking
Did one
rats.
today. I'm fine. I've been keeping my distance. They've been in their rooms, so I reckon it's all good.
Well, this is the thing that I didn't realize about the rats, though. The theoretical failure rate or false negative rate of a rapid antigen is apparently 30%. So in order to accurately know whether or not you've properly got a good result, you have to do it for 3 days in a row. And that kind of negates the 30% failure rate.
Well, I've done it for 3. I've done 2 3 days in a row, and including today.
What do you mean you've done 2
yesterday.
3 days in a row?
So I did
Twice a day.
one today. No, I did one today.
Yeah.
I didn't do one yesterday, and I did one the day before. And they've been in ISO since Thursday last week.
Okay. You have done it twice in the last 3 days.
Yeah.
And it's been negative and you don't have any symptoms. You're feeling all right. But the other 2 are sick
Yeah.
and staying in their rooms. How does that work?
Yes.
What have you been Like, are you dropping food at their door and then backing away?
No, are you kidding? I've just been making myself scarce from the house, going to the beach, going to, huge gatherings, going to church.
Wandering around in the supermarket for hours.
For no reason.
Just for nothing, yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've offered a few times. I heard one girl, I think I spoke to you about this at some point, but the only other person that I knew from work that had gotten it, she had some advice for people who have friends that get COVID. And they were like, she said, it's really good if you instead of saying, what is there anything I can get you from the shops, you say, I'm going to the shops, what can I get you? So it kind of puts the onus on, it doesn't make it seem like they're asking for anything, because she said she felt really like bad. She needed stuff. But
So the phrasing there, just to repeat for myself, I'm going to the shops, what do you need? Not, is there anything you need from the shops? So it doesn't feel like you're putting them out because you're already saying, I'm already going.
Yeah.
And I'm expecting to get things for you. So it's already settled. Don't even worry about it. Just tell me what you want.
Yeah.
And have you been doing that?
No. But I have offered a few times. I mean, I go to the shops all the time. I just love, I love going to the shops.
It's previously established that you're a supermarket fiend.
I am. So, it comes up. But Casper's pretty. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know how he's getting stuff. He's very self-sufficient. I offered. We have a thing now. We both love mandarins, and so we give each other mandarins. It's cute. It's cute. Like, I mean,
we have this thing now. We give each other mandarins.
Well, we're housemates, and we both discovered that we really love mandarins. So we've been doing this thing.
Sorry, did you say mandarins?
Mandarins. And we'll go whenever we go to the shops. We'll buy each other a mandarin. It's cute. Don't make fun of it.
I'm not making fun of it. I think it's adorable.
Yeah, it is adorable. So I've been living in mandarins, and I left him some moldy vitamins.
Do you kiss the mandarin before you put it in front of his door?
I licked the whole thing.
Okay, well that's
I
the good thing about
to
a
the point where it
fruit.
sticks to the floor, so we had to peel it off.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, so but the interesting thing is this because COVID is obviously rife in Victoria at the moment. We're getting 7,000 cases a day, whatever. And this strain has our particular strain has come from Canberra because we had a friend who went and spent Christmas with her family in Canberra, then drove back with one of her friends who we also know, and got it at a Christmas party in Canberra. So it's not
So
even
you mean your immediate, like the Casper, like this group of
yeah,
your friends has got it from
yeah,
Canberra,
yeah.
not the entire Melbourne outbreak was caused by your friends.
Yes, exactly. And and Canberra has no cases. It has like 100 cases a day.
Yeah,
So it's yeah, it's all hitting home.
yeah,
And I'm starting work this week, and I'm moving house on the weekend.
yeah.
You know,
You've
and
broke
it's
up
all
with your
like
next girlfriend. Yeah,
yeah, and it's like I don't know. I think technically I don't need to. Oh, here's the other thing. Casper got tested on Thursday last week, and he still hasn't got
yeah.
his
It was the
results
same with
back.
my dad. Same with my dad. So I mean, the frustrations I have with the Scott Morrison government are well enumerated in the past multiple years of how this pandemic has been handled there. But the frustrations of having watched you guys all put in the hard work and go through the lockdowns and flatten the curve and self-isolate to, significant mental anguish for a lot of people for the many hundreds of days to give the medical system and the government time to get their shit together. Like, you put in the hard work, and to now get to a point where there is still no fucking expansion of the testing capacities, no rapid antigen tests widely available. And if they are available, you have to pay for them if you want to do the right thing. And even then, you still have to go and get a PCR test, which might have you in queues for multiple hours. It is just such a clusterfuck. It must be so fucking frustrating to have put in the effort and then see it completely squandered like this, right?
Well, it's just like, what the fuck are we doing? Like,
Yeah.
because I went and got so all the rapid antigen tests are sold out everywhere. I went to multiple chemists.
Yeah.
I ended up finding some at Officeworks because I assume people don't know that Officeworks stocks them.
Yeah.
And they were $50 for a 5-pack, which went through our house, in the current
Instantly.
situation,
Yeah.
pretty much instantly. And then they've come back negative. Lee's come back negative. Casper's come back negative. But they have, and it's just like weird. Like, we don't know what to do. Casper hasn't got his results yet back. I don't know if I should be isolating. I don't know. It's just, who knows? I mean, I guess by the time Casper gets his results back, because they've reduced the quarantine period now too, by the time he gets his results back, he would have just done his quarantine period. So
Yeah. Well, and that's it.
gives
Sorry,
a
that was the point that I was about to make, which is that my dad and my mum went to Melbourne to then go to, is it the Marlborough Coast? That's a place, right?
Marlborough Coast,
Martinborough?
Mornington Peninsula.
Mornington. Okay, yeah, maybe. Marlborough's in New Zealand. I might have got Mornington Peninsula, perhaps. With my sister for Christmas, and I think I talked about on the previous pod about their indecision about, do we go because Mum's not got a booster, Dad got a booster, but Mum tried but wasn't allowed because it was too early. But now they've dropped that period, so it is legal. But it was just this whole clusterfuck. They ended up going anyway, keeping to a pretty tight bubble and just having a holiday. But then they were doing tests to try and get back into South Australia, a requirement which has now been dropped because apparently they're just fucking giving up on even trying to modulate what comes in the borders. But Dad and Mum did tests anyway, not certain what the outcome was going to be. And Mum got hers basically within 24 hours, and Dad, who'd walked out at the exact same time, waited over 3 days, nearly 4 days, I think, before it came back through. So the exact same amount of, slow processing time that you're now seeing with your flat. And it just came back today, I think 4 days after having swabbed. But he was let into the state anyway, so it doesn't, it's just like every state and every, the federal government has just been like, fuck it, I guess we tried, but whatever.
They don't know what they're doing. Like, and I get it that it's like
I think they do know what they're doing. They just don't care anymore, right? You can't be oblivious.
Why don't they care anymore? Because it's too hard?
Because politically, I think they're disinterested in the difficulties of the average person, and they think that the message of we need to protect the economy and get the businesses back going is more viable than the approach of protecting and supporting the populace. I don't know.
Yeah.
And of course, it varies state by state, but
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to get it soon.
Well,
That's become clear because it's become very real very quickly, and none of my friends are showing, particularly extreme symptoms. Like it's just a cold. So,
But you don't
I
even
just
yet
kind
know
of-
if you have it, like if they have it.
I genuinely could have it right now.
You genuinely could have it.
Do you want me to wear a mask to protect you?
It would make me feel a little bit more comfortable.
All right.
But
We
you
should
don't have
get
to have it over your nose or mouth. Just put it over your ears. And then you
Dude,
can have it under your
default
chin.
masks. Default mask. Why don't we think of that?
Why didn't we think of that? Probably because it's so fucking depressing. You're wearing,
By the
you're,
way-
you're, you're using the koozie.
Dude, do you ever wear your shirt? Do you ever wear your default shirt? Do you ever wear it out in public?
It's actually too small now. So that's
Is it?
the reason that I don't wear it.
Speaking of being too small, I realized when I was thinking outside, which I often do, that the real reason I realized the real reason why you didn't come home for Christmas is because you're not big enough yet in your head. You're waiting for the massive reveal.
I want it to be
And I mean
really
massive.
noticeable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why you didn't come home for
That
Christmas.
was it. That was the sole motivating
I worked it
factor.
out.
I'm not big
I'm
enough.
onto you, buddy.
Yeah. No, this isn't worth anything. Yeah.
Put those
Bad
bad boys away, please.
This is a PG rated podcast.
This is not an open carry state, Nick. Carl Rittenhouse over here.
Wow. Welcome to Deep Thought, everybody. Let's move quickly into the intro. This is a podcast that we just talk about things that affect the world and affect humanity and affect animals and affect each other. Sitting through the internet is Michael. Hey, Michael.
Hey, Michael. Hey, Nick. Hey, everyone.
Thank you for saying hello. Happy New Year, all. I hope you had a lovely holiday season. I hope it's still ongoing for you and you get some time off and you're enjoying summer and it's all pleasant and un-COVID-y.
Uncovered.
Yeah.
Tell me about your Christmas and New Year period.
Well, we had a Skypey kind of Christmas with the family, who were then safely in, what did we decide it was? The Mornington Peninsula, in their bubble. So Skyped into them, had a chit chat. They opened presents, we opened presents. You know, in this day and age, it was pretty decent.
What'd you get? What'd you give?
What did I get? I got some new pants from KC. I got
What kind of pants?
just pants that fit me, just like bigger pants.
Pants that fit me.
Yeah, because I've been throwing out, donating a lot of clothes that are too small for me now. So
Okay, we get it, mate.
this is you asked. This is I needed new pants, so he got me some pants.
It's like you're literally the Incredible Hulk,
Yeah.
just in like slow.
I'm
version.
breaking a pair of pants. That
because
was
because
it.
they're too small for you now because you're so muscly.
Well, that's a sad reality, but still not big enough to go home yet. So.
Yeah, they don't fine line. They
a fine line.
don't teach you that in gym school.
They
do
don't teach you that in gym school, that it's going to
the
cost you
hidden
fucking
costs of
hundreds of
getting
dollars to change all your clothes. Yeah. But in terms of gifts I got, gifts I gave, I gave Casey a dog doorstop that he wanted and a custom...
Do you have a dog?
No, like it's shaped like a dog. It's just a cute doorstop that he wanted. And I got some custom... So he's...
I don't know what I was thinking there when you said dog doorstop, and I said
It's
is
for
it
stopping
for
dogs.
A dog.
Yeah. It's so that they can, like a dog kennel, they can keep their front door open if it's like a hot day.
Right.
Yeah.
This is riveting.
Yeah, I'm going to
podcasting,
delete
by the way.
all of this. Okay, I'm going to ask you what you got and gave, but if it's boring, this whole segment is going.
Yeah. What did I get? Can you hear that? You can hear those trams, can't you?
Yeah.
I have to keep the window open. It's either the window or the fan. Mm-hmm. But I thought maybe some atmospheric, Melbourne trams.
Yeah, I
could be
mean, you
fun.
don't edit the podcast, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Exactly. And I've turned the gain right up. What did I get? I got a whoopee cushion. No joke. Got a whoopee cushion from Steph, my brother's girlfriend.
Yeah.
As well as a flotation tank voucher.
Okay. Yeah, I've always wanted to do a float tank.
Oh, that was probably the best gift I got.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, and also a fake cockroach, which I used to.
You ate immediately.
I ate it because I thought it was food.
You thought it was a real one, and they're like, "Nope, gotcha." That was plastic.
Yeah. What else I got? A Google Nest, which Ben got me, which I'm not really sure how to use, but I guess I'll work it out. But yeah, maybe drop this bit because this sucks.
Yeah. So a lot of really lovely feedback off the back of the last episode. A lot of love for your Christmas song. A lot of people coming up to me in the street and saying, "Are you Nick from Deep Fort?" And I said, "Yes."
Just strangers. Wow.
And they said, "I loved Michael's song." So I think some huge success there on your end, and an incredible song, which has been sincerely stuck in my head since the last podcast.
That's winning. And the same. I've heard the same about yours, and actually more than that. Actually, got some interesting feedback from one of my friends called Steph, who has actually got COVID now. Not to name and shame, but
it's going around.
She wanted to shout out because she said she had some very specific advice, because on this trip back from Canberra, her and her friend, where they both got COVID, and I'm not saying it's because they listened to our podcast in the car, but you could put two and two together.
You could.
You couldn't say that it didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, you could.
The science isn't in.
Now, this is from Steph, who has previously said, I don't know if I've told you this, she said, she turned to me very earnestly one day and she said, I got so bored the other day that I almost listened to your podcast. And she meant it. She wasn't even joking.
Yeah.
And anyway, she listened to this one because it was, they had like an 8-hour drive.
A lot of hype. Yeah.
And they had a lot of time to kill. And she said that her specific feedback was that you come across as very likable, and she, quote, likes the things that Nick says. And she said she said Nick's got a great laugh, which is just not
disgusting.
True.
Yeah.
Disgusting. It's like one of my least favorite things about you. And she said some of the things that you say, Michael, they're not that funny. That's what she said. But she said she liked your Christmas song. She liked mine. But it was all mixed in with this,
sort of undercut of criticism. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, I support all of that feedback. I think we should take it on board. We really appreciate our listeners and are grateful of all of the time and investment that they put into our little show. I think it's also worth noting that you have a little bit of album release news.
Yeah, we've got it on Spotify. Sean Lewis has done some hilarious art. I won't say great art because I don't think he was going for greatness. And that's what you get for $50. I think it was $50 worth.
I've certainly paid $50. I don't know if you've reimbursed me $50 yet.
Yes, I have.
Okay, that's fine.
Don't fucking put that out there. I played you straight away.
Well, I don't check the Australian account.
Why don't you get notifications?
Ooh, gross. No.
Well,
I don't have any of my apps notifying me anything.
Anyway, thanks, Sean, for doing the art.
Even if it was only good and not great, according to Michael.
Well, it was fine. It was good. It's funny. I sent him
fine.
A couple of albums, that I was, album like old timey Christmas art, art that I was kind of thinking, and then he slapped our faces on it, and it was great, and I like it. And maybe we'll change it in the future. Maybe we won't. But we could do a new one every year. That could be fun.
Sure. Sure.
But thanks, Sean, for doing that. And I guess we'll add them to that album. I think you can do that. You can just add them to the album.
Yeah, you can just add tracks,
every year. So
all those people out there that have been clamoring for Deep Fort to be on Spotify, I hear you, constantly get on Spotify. We've done it. We heard your request. We're now on Spotify. And that's the end of that.
Yeah.
That
No, I
settles
liked your
that settles
your
that
explanation
chapter.
to Dan P on Facebook there.
Yeah,
Still not quite sure why, but you've got your reasons. So.
I got my reasons.
Yeah.
If I need to enunciate them again, I will. I can talk about it here.
No,
But I
don't
don't
do
think it
that.
behooves anyone.
Behoove.
Behooves.
I got a story about a hobo that I got to tell you.
Okay.
You want to hear it? Are we done with
Oh yeah,
Christmas?
no. I think we're done. Yeah.
So, I saw the most epic hobo fight of my life the other day.
Okay. Why? But as a start, why hobo? What are we defining by as a hobo these days? Homeless person, or is this a different subcategory of homeless? Is it like where's unhoused fit into all this?
Well, one of them was wearing bum gloves.
Okay,
Which
that does make it more of a hobo. But see, to me, a hobo is someone who catches a ride on a train. Jumps onto a moving train into an open cart.
Well, let me tell you why I say hobo. First of all, it's like a cool version of homeless.
You think there's a bit of cachet?
But one of them was wearing a denim jacket.
Oh yeah.
It was a dirty one. But it was like, they were kind of cool. Like,
Okay.
not cool, but like,
They had a bit of swagger.
they look like they could have been in rock bands once in the day.
Yeah.
You know? So I guess hobo
So
is just like a cool
you're calling
homeless
it like
person.
a compliment. It's an
Yeah.
affectionate term.
Yeah, I get that it could be received as insulting.
Uh-huh.
What's the politically correct term for homeless person?
Well, I hear unhoused a lot.
Unhoused, sure. Transitioning,
Yeah.
that's complicated. Yeah, unhoused. I don't want to say but what's the noun of unhoused? Unhoused?
That is it. They are the unhoused. Yeah.
The unhoused.
I think the
terrible.
idea is, I mean, it does sound a little bit sci-fi booky, but I think the idea is that just because they don't have anywhere to live that's like a property doesn't mean they don't have a home somewhere. I think that's some kind of nuance they're getting at.
PC term. Just going to give this a quick good for homeless.
Did you say good?
Yeah, people without housing, people without homes. Vagrant. That's good.
Vagrant? No, vagrant's got weird connotations.
Derelict.
Derelict is not it, surely.
That's come up.
Okay, I don't think that's right. Derelict is like a broken building.
Oh, what about transients?
Transient suggests they're moving.
Well, they usually are. But
I mean, like changing cities.
Right.
Anyway,
I'm going with hobo because they were cool homeless people, and that's what hobo means. Anyway, I'm sitting at the front of Grilled. You're familiar with this chain?
I don't think I don't. It's like a sort of healthy burger bar.
Oh yeah, big fan of Grilled. Big new fan of Grilled. And
do you get a meat option or a veggie option?
I get the grilled chicken. Mm-hmm. We're on fire today, I tell you what. Anyway, I was sitting. There's a restaurant on one of the main streets where I live, and I was sitting in the restaurant, but like facing out towards the glass, like they have a bar, a bar seating area where you can look out at the glass windows. Mm-hmm. And anyway, I see this hobo. I feel bad about saying that now, but I see this one hobo, and I see this trolley go smashing through, like past where I'm sitting at the glass and into a car.
Oh,
and I hear this yelling, and so I look over and I see these two guys just going at it, like yelling at each other, and these like people, because it's quite a busy street, these people kind of moving around them. And anyway, one of the hobos comes back to like exactly in front of where I'm sitting, and pulls the trolley back and moves it over and tries to smash it into him again. They're going at it for like.
Sorry.
4 or 5
There's
minutes.
a second person here. You said it's like the trolley's going into a car.
Well, the trolley went past my window and into a car.
But was there a second person at the car?
No. Was that?
Well, I just don't understand You haven't described a fight yet. You said that like a trolley hit a car, and I just don't understand where the second
Oh,
person
sorry.
is.
Sorry. The two homeless guys are going at it. One of them's got a trolley and they're using it as a weapon
Sure.
to
And
shield.
they just miss.
He tries to ram,
Yeah.
lets go of it. It moves past
Gotcha.
the other homeless guy
Okay.
into a car.
Yeah.
And there's no one there trying to break it up, which I found weird. But also, my heart rate's kind of going up because I'm getting a little scared. Anyway,
You've also got a thirst for blood.
I do.
You're
What
like
does that mean?
you're like in Gladiator. You're watching these two combatants in front of you,
Yeah.
and you're willing to give the Joaquin Phoenix, thumbs up or thumbs down.
Yeah, I'm turning to the guy next to me and saying, "Hey, you want to put $20 in this fight?" Anyway, one of them goes on for about 5 minutes, but they're just yelling. They're using this trolley to try and ram each other. They're not actually getting close, and then one of them just swiftly walks past, and then he's gone for about 3 minutes. Okay, it's over. So I go back to my burger. It's delicious, by the way, grilled chicken.
Do they have like an aioli in it, or is it like avocado?
I usually get like a chipotle aioli.
Oh, chipotle aioli.
Yeah, chipotle aioli. The A sauce. Do you remember that?
The A sauce? No, I don't.
Do you remember Michelle Wallace used to say the A sauce?
That's right.
She could
That's
never
right, because
pronounce
she
it.
couldn't pronounce aioli. Yeah.
She's like, "Can I have some more of the A sauce?" I'm like, "You get it every day, so
You
maybe
could just
learn it."
learn it. Yeah.
Anyway, there's a lot of vowels in that word.
There's so many vowels.
And then, so this guy goes past. 3 minutes go by. I'm thinking, I got chipotle aioli all over my face at this point. Then I see the other homeless guy walking after with a crowbar,
Shit.
and he walks past my window, and I kid you not, it's the most frightened I've been in ages. He looks me dead in the eye, and my heart just stops. Like, my heart stops, and the adrenaline in my body is going pumping all around. He looks me in the eye.
Well, it can't be
and then-
pumping all around if your heart stops. So which is
I
it?
don't know, dude. They're both true. My heart stopped and it was beating super fast. I don't know what happened. Looks me dead in the eye, and then he walked past, and that's actually the end of it. But I saw a homeless guy, with a denim jacket and a big beard, looked me in the eye with this like evil look in his eye, with a crowbar in his hand, while I'm trying to eat a fucking Simon Says over here.
Were they talking? Like, could you understand what it was they were fighting about?
No, but I think my guess was that it was turf.
Turf war.
Yeah.
Wow.
Territory. These spots.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
I was trying to think. Yeah, let's not go there.
I think this whole story is a bit tricky as well, to be honest. It's a bit.
We'll delete all of this. So
we've got nothing left. We've deleted everything.
We deleted
got
everything now. Okay, I do have an actual topic that I wanted to talk about briefly. Did you?
Okay.
Is that all right?
Yeah, no, I'll allow it.
Okay. On a slightly different note, I don't know if you heard, but New Zealand has planned and announced a series of laws to ensure that young people can never legally purchase cigarettes. They're trying to ban cigarette sales, and with the age of a ban on the sales rising every year, the effect of which is people that are currently aged 14 will never be able to legally buy cigarettes in their lifetime. Do you know anything about this?
Yeah.
So this is the first country in the world that would take this kind of step. But basically, when the law comes into effect, if they're 14, the next year, the cigarettes ban will be increased to people aged 15, so they're not able to do it. And then the next year it'll be 16 and 17 and so on, to the effect that anyone that's currently underage will always be underage because it's moving as they're moving. Right. And that means that they and any future generations younger than them will never be able to purchase tobacco. So I find this a very interesting approach, and I think there's a lot of angles here that would be interesting to discuss.
Yeah.
One of them is the idea that criminalizing drug use has an effect of pushing that drug into the darker, gang underbelly. It takes
Yeah.
taxable income away and makes it an unregulated area. At the same time, there's this health cost associated with smoking, and the intent here, I think, is honestly a good one. It has cost savings for society and for the nation in terms of the implications of treating people for cigarette related diseases and lung disease and all that kind of stuff. So I just want to know your big picture thoughts here before we dive into it a little bit. Tell me what you think. Should we ban cigarettes full stop? And what do you think about this specific proposal?
I think it's a pretty good idea. I think there is cigarettes to me are this weird thing where everyone's like, it's kind of the most obvious thing to ban cigarettes given how deadly they are. But it seems to me that they still remain legal because, well, maybe you've got, big tobacco in the pockets of politicians. Maybe that's that. But it also seems to be this thing where it is kind of intergenerational and it kind of gets pushed down. And I think this is a good way of kind of disallowing children from ever picking it up. I mean, I smoked my first cigarette when I was 21.
Really?
Yeah. Why, later or earlier than you thought?
I guess that's later than I thought.
No, I didn't. It was at Falls Festival.
Yeah.
And I guess I do regret ever having that first one. I mean, I've cut down my smoking pretty significantly now. Well, at least that's what I say on my podcast, and to my parents. But I do like it is great. Like it is a very enjoyable act, but it's also a very habitual act. And so I feel like if I didn't have that first cigarette, I probably would never. Well, maybe I probably might have picked it up along the way. But if the option was never available to me, I don't think I'd miss it. I mean, people who don't smoke don't miss not smoking, do you?
No. I never have.
In fact, you probably find it repulsive.
I do, yeah. I find it off-putting whenever you're, walking down the street and there's a big of like smoke in front of you and you're just like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, and I'm sorry for keep blowing smoke in your face.
Well, you seem to do it with this like evil glint in your eye in which it feels quite deliberate. And you say,
I'm aiming at you.
You say, suck on this, and then you just like exhale into my face. It can't help but feel a little bit targeted.
Okay, well, if you think that's on purpose, then fine. But I think like if there's, no one's gonna. I don't think people would take up smoking at 30. I mean, it seems weird to cut off people who smoke past 40, and I get that.
Sorry. What do you mean there? It feels weird to cut off people who smoke past 40.
So people who are 40
it's strange,
plus.
It's strange to ban people who are already 40.
Well, I just think it's like, it seems, I don't know, does it seem unfair to do it? But you're basically only saying, well, you've gotten used to it now and now you're addicted. So, just keep smoking. But yeah, like you said, like if you ban things, it will drive it underground. But then but it's different with smoking because like with drugs, right? So with drugs, if you ban them, they go underground. But the act of taking drugs is done discreetly anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to smoke in public. So if you have to smoke in public, that makes it harder to do it.
But you could still use it at home, right?
I guess so. But your neighbors would very much smell it.
Yeah, but
you could say the same
picture
with weed.
Picture this 20 years from now, right? So you got a 34-year-old man who can't legally buy cigarettes because you have to be 35, right? So a 34-year-old walks in and wants to go buy a cigarette and is told, no, I can't have it. Isn't that odd? Isn't that odd from like you're an adult which has agency and a 35-year-old could walk in and buy it and smoke if they wanted to?
Yes.
It's
it gets less odd with every year. So yes, the first first people who are 34 in those first years, and then the people that are 33 and 32, 31, it gets less weird. And then after about 5 years, it's like, well, I can't. Well, maybe it's the same. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting because
Do you mean it's just because it's like a small age difference? But we do that with alcohol already.
Yeah,
You know,
we do.
a
But it's at a
17-year-old can't buy
fixed.
alcohol.
Yeah, but it's at a fixed point. It's always a 17 or 18-year-old. Like that's the only point, right? But if you get to the point where it's like this guy's 47 and he's not legally allowed to buy cigarettes, but a 48-year-old can, right?
Yes,
like it's quite a strange place to end up, right?
Yeah,
it's a phased rollout, and I understand the logic is that it basically slowly removes it from society over time. It's a phased transition away to where it's like no longer a thing. And in some ways I respect that, but in the other ways it's quite a strange removal of human agency, isn't it? Like it is the government making a decision about what you can and can't put in your body. And to be fair, we do that in plenty of other ways. You know, not every opiate is freely available, but they do exist in society for specific use cases. So we do already limit some drugs like that from accessibility. Certain countries have different rules on alcohol and that kind of thing. So it's not completely out of a health-based context, but it is odd to me conceptually to have this ticking clock thing where every year it increases, and the implications of that start to become a little bit weirder for me. When you're like a 50-year-old, surely at that point, if you want to smoke, you should be able to smoke, right? Like knowing all of the...
Yeah, I agree, but also the longer you go without cigarettes, the less likely you are to want to smoke.
True.
So I also get it from that angle.
And it's also, vaping is still allowed. So, you know, other kinds of smoking, nicotine-free smoking, tar-free smoking are still out there on the market. So in some ways, I think if people who would want to smoke and do so legally and don't get it from their, older siblings or under the counter and all the kind of illegal ways it'll happen, if they wanted to do it, then maybe vaping is the way. But vaping still has these kind of unknown health impacts anyway, right? Like, is it just substituting one thing for a different thing?
Yeah, it certainly feels like it. I really don't trust vapes, but hey,
no, neither do I.
I do trust cigarettes,
Yeah. Well, the other thing, like, there is a cultural context here as well, which is that Maori and Pacifica people are disproportionately represented in smoking mortality stats here in New Zealand. So, like, lung cancer is the leading cause of death for Maori women, and mortality for lung cancer is 4 times higher among Maori women than in non-Maori women. Lung cancer is also the second leading cause of death for Maori men. So it is a specifically cultural consideration as well, where they're approaching this in terms of a specific, race or subculture, which, again, and of course has been like very highly researched, and there's been consultation with the public and these kind of considerations made from the health industry and from cultural and community kind of things. And a lot of places have had a aspiration to be like a smoke-free nation because the cost of it is so great. But there is something interesting as well with the government making a choice like this theoretically on behalf of the Maori and people of color statistics, where it almost feels a little bit, and this might be a completely unreasonable characterization, but it feels a little bit stolen generation-y, like we the government know what's best for your communities, so let us decide for you and choose a pathway forward. I'm sure there's been consultation and collaboration in and amongst the various iwis and health boards and that kind of thing, but I don't know, I find it a little bit I'm not entirely sold on this approach.
So that's a bit of a hot take, that one, Nick. That banning smoking to target the Maori people in New Zealand is stolen generation-y. I
Well,
mean,
I was trying to find a similar analogy, and it's probably an inapt one, but it just feels like a little bit.
but wasn't tobacco introduced by Western culture?
I'm not sure that's a fair question.
Mm. Um, how else could you envisage banning smoking? If
Well, I guess that's the
and
question.
smoking should be banned.
I guess that's the question, right? Like, should we ban it, or should we work as a society to discourage it and to educate people about the harms and to stigmatize it and hope that naturally that decreases? Because smoking rates have decreased already,
Yeah,
right? So,
yeah.
is there evidence that we have hit a plateau that we'll never get past? That there will always be, say, a 10% of the population that smokes? And so, if we are to consider the greater health of these people and of the country, we need to institute a law or regulation restricting it? I'd be interested to know. If it is just something that culturally could be overcome, and that with time people transition to vapes because they at least don't have nicotine or don't have tar, that kind of thing, and the use of the cigarettes disappears. I don't know. Is it a necessary step to go that far?
I wonder if they could ever. I guess that's what they're trying to do with vapes at the moment. But I wonder if they hypothetically could do a healthy cigarette where it doesn't fuck up your lungs. But I guess at the end of the day, you're still breathing
You're
things
breathing a smoke in,
into
right?
your lungs.
Yeah.
But I guess tobacco's always been. It's always been around. Like it's been used anciently and historically. So my instinct is like the same with like any drugs and the same with like alcohol or marijuana, that there will be a need for this on some level. Not everyone's going to be drawn to it, but I think like with drugs, there will always be drugs are never going to go away. Um and yeah, I'm reluctant to say that anything should be banned. But weirdly, I think with smoking, I think because it is one of those things that if you don't do it, you gradually become repulsed by it. So you probably, that will kind of fizzle out. It's like it's mostly people that start smoking when they're young. So I actually do think this is a pretty good approach.
It's interesting because there's a definite contrast, maybe not contradiction, but the legalization of marijuana is sort of an ongoing and seemingly inevitable movement. We came very close with a recent referendum, but didn't quite get there. And yet we see it all over the world now. Like there's plenty of places where it's seemingly coming, and those places that have introduced it haven't seen dramatic consequences for it. There is a degree of inconsistency there, right? In saying
Huge.
let's bring marijuana in. The medical benefits of it are reasonable to consider, and the potential harms from it are relatively minor, and yet it is still something that if you wanted to, you could smoke. It's a strange place to be in.
The whole drug space has been completely fucked. Like and it's all over the place. Like the fact that marijuana was illegal for so long and still is in Australia and New Zealand, I assume. Because of it's got something to my history's all over the place, but it's got something to do with the black. That's what black people used to smoke, and then alcohol came in, and anyway, that was a solid recount of the history of why marijuana was
we're
banned.
all incredibly educated now.
You guys know what you need to know now. But alcohol, was banned in the 1930s, whatever, and then brought back, even though it kills more people than marijuana. And I don't know. I think is it on par with smoking?
I'm not
alcohol.
sure what the stats are. I mean,
It's got to be up there. But then
it's
also
definitely got to have.
you've also got to you got to go. Are you going to do the same thing with obesity and fast food? Like, is there an argument to be made that that you should ban
Saturated
fast
fats or
food?
something.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
sugar.
yeah. I mean, it is a reasonable question. If we're talking about banning substances due to the effects that it has on the health of the populace, then obesity, heart disease, all that kind of thing, those
It's up
implications
there.
come from ingredients like sugar
Yeah.
or like saturated fats, that sort of thing.
And again, these because they've been raising the prices of cigarettes here pretty significantly for the past like 10 years
That's
to
the
the
thing.
point where it's like ridiculous unless I roll my own cigarettes, which is like the healthy option.
Yeah.
And also it's made way a lot cheaper. But for people who smoke tailored cigarettes, a pack of those goes for $50.
Yeah.
If someone is if they smoke a one pack per, it doesn't even matter. But if they smoke one pack per 3 days, I mean that's an extremely
Hundreds of dollars.
it's huge amounts of money, and as well any tax hike with any of these what are they called demons. They affect the lower socioeconomic populations.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones who and not to talk down again to to this is tricky. I don't like this where I'm going with this, but I could stop,
but you're not going to.
but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
They are the ones who eat, and by they I mean all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, you'd seem uncertain of your own statement there.
eat at fast food restaurants and smoke more.
Well, that is true though. That is based on statistics. If you have very little money, fast food is a great, if not the only option, because you might not have the kitchen facilities needed to cook something yourself. You might not have the ability to get to the shops when they're open. If you're working shift work, your most dependable and value for money kind of option is going to be fast food, where you can get a hamburger for $2 or something. Like.
Yeah.
It'll do what it needs to, and you don't have other options. Just going on to the taxes on the cigarettes thing. So one of the health minister that introduced this concept and these laws, announced them all, Dr. Verrill, had announced this plan, which is making New Zealand smoke-free by 2025. But she said that the government wanted to make sure young people never start smoking, particularly Maori, but taxes had done all it could. Quote, "We have already seen the full impact of excise tax increases. The government recognises that going further will not help people quit." And I think you're right when you're talking about how the prices have gone up in the past 10 years to $50 a pack or whatever it is. If people are still smoking at that point, it's because they're addicted. So it's not... Yeah. It's not at that point where it's a disincentive anymore. Maybe it makes it harder for younger people to get into the habit, but it's not going to help the people who are still on it stop, right? So at that point, it is just imposing a further disadvantage on people with an addiction and taking more money out of their weekly budget or whatever it might be. So that there are potentially negative consequences to continuing to up those taxes to ridiculous rates, right? Then you risk.
Yeah, what are they going to do? Like make them $100 a pack?
Yeah, and then you risk gambling or crime or or other kinds of consequences of that kind of addicted behavior.
Well, funnily enough, actually, you can buy in plenty of places in Melbourne, at least. You can buy imported cigarettes that don't have any of the. You know how they made all the cigarette packets the same packaging?
Yeah, they're all that kind of generic
like
green.
Green thing, but with like a horrific medicinal effect of thing. But then, the funny thing about that is like you just get so used to it, you don't even look at it anymore. Like you don't even see it. But in plenty of places here, you can buy like under the counter, Chinese cigarettes that are like half the price. They're like old prices.
Yeah.
And all you're doing is supporting the Chinese mafia. which
Well,
is
that's the thing,
a
right?
cause we can all get behind.
Apparently, that was one of the clinching factors because the legalization of pot here was really close, and apparently one of the deciders could have been the gangs and the underground activity voting against it, because if it was legalized, then it would take
Yeah.
away all of their income source and control and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just for the due diligence here, Dr. Ashley Bloomfield, who is one of the sort of leading health figures in New Zealand, because of he was sort of the face of the COVID response, and a whole bunch of the past 2 years has been sort of narrated and comforted by Dr. Bloomfield's as the face of New Zealand's response. His statement regarding this cigarette ban is that he had aspired for a smoke-free nation for many years and was delighted by the task force that had been put together, because there is going to be discussions about the implications of such a law coming into effect. But he says it is incredibly important that Māori could exercise tino rangatiratanga and mana motuhake, which is self-determination or autonomy, and having some degree of like authority or independence. So he's trying to acknowledge the fact that if you're doing this on behalf of a Māori populace, they need to be included in the decision-making process. So it wouldn't be fair to say that it's not being done without some of the collaboration with these peoples. But
Okay.
it still feels strange to me.
So they have been consulted. What are you drinking, by the way?
It's an orange and mint gin cocktail.
Very fancy. So they have been consulted.
Yes, so that will be part of the task force's process up ahead.
And has this passed, this rule?
I don't think it has been officially passed yet.
proposed.
It's just been proposed and drafted, and there'll be consultations. And then, interestingly, about a third of the submissions during the consultation process, which has already happened, a third of them were made by people in industries with bodies with a connection to the tobacco industry. So they're very much opinionated, as you'd expect.
Yes. Thank you for smoking.
Yeah.
Did you do you remember that movie?
Aaron
Eckhart. Where's he gone?
Aaron Eckhart. What's he been up to?
He's not been doing anything. He has a stupid haircut.
In that movie, or just generally?
He's just got some dumb hair. He's got that swoopy. But he was the golden boy for a while.
What's he up to? He seems like he's been doing things. He's been working all the way through.
B grade movies, probably.
No.
I mean, he's not been in anything big.
Yeah, it doesn't look it.
Yeah, poor Aaron.
Anyway.
What do we do now?
I don't know. Joe Rogan's
bit
not
of a-
getting vaccinated.
Is he not?
He's cancelling shows because Canada requires vaccination to entry.
Well, he's had COVID,
I
so
know.
doesn't need to.
But Omicron can break through even if you had COVID.
Does it?
Yeah, people who've had COVID have also contracted Omicron. People who have been vaccinated have also contracted Omicron, depending on how recently.
Are you more protected by being vaccinated or by having COVID and overcoming it?
Vaccinated, absolutely.
Is that true?
Yeah. Because the level of antibodies, I think, is quite different.
Okay. Have you had your booster yet? You due for your booster?
I'm not due yet. I had mine in October, September, October.
Okay. Have
So
they moved yours up? Or
No,
are they keeping
because
it at 6 months?
Our numbers are pretty low.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I reckon I'll be due for my booster next month.
Yeah. When did you get yours?
September, so they've brought it up to 4 months.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah. Yeah, I guess I'll get it. I mean, maybe I'll probably get COVID before then, to be honest.
I mean, you're living in a house with 2 sick people as we speak.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I might just, I'm back to work from Wednesday. So I was just planning to hold out until then.
But is the expectation that you go in?
Yeah. But we have to go back to wearing a mask inside the office. I don't know, man. I'm a
If you
bit.
have two sick home people, could you not say, I'm going to just stay home? I mean, even if that exposes you slightly more, it exposes them a lot less. Like, could you not
Yeah.
say, I'm in the vicinity of two people waiting on tests. Can I just work from home until we know?
Yeah, maybe I should. Maybe I should do that. That's actually a good way to do it. I was thinking about that today because it's so tricky. You just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, maybe that's a good way to do it. Say I'm waiting for them to receive their results back.
Yeah. Well, if they don't
But
have it by
then,
Wednesday, that'd be crazy.
well, that'll be almost a week,
Yeah.
and that's the full length of the isolation period.
Yeah. Is it only a 7-day isolation now?
Yeah, they reduced it.
But that's so crazy because, like, some people have been getting Omicron 12 days in. Like, reporting negative test, negative test, negative test, negative test, negative test. And then,
Really?
like, yeah. So we had our first community case of Omicron last week. It was a UK DJ who was coming over here to play a festival. And
Yeah, boy.
he'd spent 7 days in ISO and 3 days, 7 days in MIQ and 3 days isolating. And he got 3 negative tests. And
PCR.
Yep. And he then left quarantine on day 11, which was after the 3 days of self-isolation, but before his final test on day 9 had come back. So there'd been a lag between that, but it got to the 11th day and he was like, well, I've done my 3, I'm off. And I've had negative test, negative test, negative test. So he went out, then it came back positive. The day 9 test came back positive, even after all the previous ones had been negative. And so far, it looks like there hasn't been any spread from the Omicron in the country as a result of that. But it did really reinforce it. You could have no symptoms, you could have negative tests for literally 2 weeks, and it still pops up.
Let me ask you, what do you think, given that we're on the recording on the 3rd of January 2022,
Yeah.
we've had 2 years of COVID just dominating
Yeah.
the whole time. Predictions. Let's do predictions for 2022. Does COVID slow down? Does it normalize? Do we get herd immunity? What do we get? Let's record our predictions and then reflect back on them.
For this year specifically.
Yeah.
I think this year is going to be absolutely no different to last year.
Why?
I mean, maybe slightly better. We have vaccines, but we also know that after 6 months, vaccines don't protect against Omicron. Omicron is so rapidly spreading that inevitably there's going to be mutations, and there's still a political and cultural uphill battle to convince some members of the population all around the world to take a vaccine. So it's going to continue to exist. Is without question, at the end of this year, COVID's still going to be a thing, right? No one's doubting that. So that means the likelihood of other mutations is pretty high. The likelihood that one of those mutations is more lethal or more easily spread is, that's plausible. We also know that vaccines after 6 months lose effectiveness against Omicron. So you have to be in a continual vaccination cycle for at least the next few years to try and keep ahead and keep that resilience up. I don't know. Maybe we settle into a bit more of a living with it mentality, and certainly the Australian government's trying. But and perhaps that also means that travel becomes a bit easier and the options are there. But I think you're right now that we're getting to the point where you're probably going to catch it.
You know what the annoying thing is?
Yeah.
That it's like part of me, and I've spoken to a few friends who've expressed the same thing. We've been like, well, I just want to get it at this point. But it's not like you get it and then you can't get it again.
Yeah.
So it's like so relentless that like if you could just get it once, you'd be like, fine, just give it to me, let me do my isolation, and then I'll move on with my life.
That's on the assumption that it doesn't have. Yeah, that's on the assumption it doesn't even have long-term effects on you. Like you could sincerely suffer permanent lung capacity loss. Like you could. Yeah, there are long COVID symptoms which people are still identifying and living with, and will live with
But
for the rest of their lives.
but not so much with double vaccinated, which most of us are now.
Well, yeah, still. I mean, again,
Long COVID was a
Omicron-
thing for people who are unvaccinated.
it was, but do you have any evidence that that's not the case if you caught COVID now? If you caught Omicron now?
No, sorry, I was distracted by that unicycle. No, I don't. I don't have any evidence for anything.
Yeah.
Like, literally
That's the
nothing.
default motto.
Yeah.
But like if you got COVID now from like an Omicron, maybe it's less severe. That's plausible. But I don't know. I still don't want to get it.
All right, just for balance, I'm going to go the other way. I reckon what's going to happen is that Australia is already opening up. It's going to continue to do so. We're going to have a free country again, where you can move basically interchangeably between states, not have to quarantine, not have to isolate, any of this garbage, and basically most of the population is going to get it. We're going to get herd immunity, and then everyone's going to go back to living their lives and hugging and making out with strangers on the street like we used to, like the good old days.
Like they
baby.
fought in World War II to protect.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And that's my prediction. People will be making out in the streets by July.
By July.
Maybe
Look,
August.
I would love that. I just I don't know. I feel like the weak link in the system is the medical system, right? It is the ability to treat severely ill people in our hospitals. And if it gets to the point where there is such a huge influx of cases and the medical system is crumbling under the pressure, and people with other illnesses and other disease, that require ongoing surgery, ongoing cancer treatment or surgeries or all these kind of things, are unable to get the medical help that they need, I think it's fairly reasonable that you will see these kind of lockdowns and restrictions on movement and behavior reintroduced. There's no other way to ease the load on the medical system.
Fuck. I mean, we're getting 33,000 cases Australia-wide now per day.
Yeah.
I mean, like, dude, I can't imagine. Can you envisage a world where we are just doing this for like the next 10 years?
Can you just like... It is so weird that we're living through this. Can you just take a step back for a second and think, like, when we started this podcast, which is coming up on 8 years ago, would you have guessed in a million years that it's still going, and that for 3 years of it, we're actively talking about an ongoing pandemic? Can you...
Basically,
like, it's
every episode, by the way.
Weird. It's so weird that we're living through this.
I know, dude. I know. I'm so bored. I'm so bored of it. Like, I would like a new virus. If that's the option, I'll take a new virus. Bring AIDS back,
Wow.
Okay, sorry.
Too much.
Maybe bring back the
Too
flu.
much. Too much.
Bring back hay fever.
Hay fever. Bring back hay fever.
I'm just so sick of the word and so sick of talking about it all the time. But also, I mean, you need to talk about it. I mean, we talk about it every episode. But
Sometimes
fuck,
we don't.
dude.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah, get your shit
Like,
together,
just-
Joe. Take the fucking vax.
Yeah. Or ivermectin.
Or ivermectin. If you enjoy this sort of thing, then I am very relieved, because it's nice to know it's not... Were you kissing them? It's a bit...
Wait, you do the outro and I'll kiss everyone's neck. Just imagine I'm kissing your neck.
Okay, I'm going to do my best to finish this with
imagine
a
I'm
degree of
kissing your neck.
respect. And if you don't like the idea that Michael was air kissing you, then just skip right through it. Pick a chapter and go to the next one.
Let me turn up the gain.
Oh, that's so... No, I don't like it. I don't consent to this.
ASMR.
Okay. Maybe I'll just mute this bit. You can find us now on Spotify. Listen to our tracks there on the Christmas album, and it's also up on SoundCloud, as is always. the case. You can find us on Facebook for news articles and little bits of information, and on Twitter, where you get a notification if the thing has come live. All of our episodes are on deepfort.podbean.com, new website, check it out. And you can get in contact with us, as always, by emailing deepfort@gmail.com. Thank you for your support, and have a lovely Thursday late morning. I'm just guessing when you might be listening.
Nice. You got any Rex?
I do have some Rex. I have Rex sitting here.
Rex Hunt.
Having just talked about Rex Hunt. Is he a fisherman?
Yeah.
Weird. Having just talked about the mailbag, I'm just quickly checking the mailbag.
Mailbag, it's the weekly mailbag.
Deep Thoughts mailbag. We have no emails, so that's fine.
And that's the mailbag.
And that's the mailbag.
No, you should do that. You should do that. That's a funny bit.
Okay, let's do a recommendation engine. Does that work for you? You spent a lot of time preening.
I thought you were playing the jingle in it.
No, you were just preening in the camera, fixing up your hair. Which does look great.
Really good today.
Looks good today, yeah. Distinguished.
Yeah.
Grab the keys.
Oh yeah, that's what I say. Sorry.
Welcome to Deep Thought's recommendation engine.
Alrighty, what do you got?
I got 2 movies and another thing.
Okay, I got some things as well.
What do you got?
I got 3. Shall I go first?
Yeah.
I feel like we touched on this last episode, but I can't remember if we talked about it or not. But I'm just going to throw it out there again, just in case. Succession is a very good TV show, and you should watch Succession. I think previously have talked about How To with John Wilson. Is that?
Yep.
We've talked about it. There's a second season of How To with John Wilson.
Oh, what the fuck?
Which is out now. It is terrific. There are brand new episodes.
Now, is that an HBO?
There's an HBO experience.
I hope it's on binge. I'm going to check right now. I can't wait. I have to check this right now.
The concept, if you don't recall, you haven't heard before, John Wilson is a New York-based documentarian. He just wears a camera or carries a camera around with him all day, every day, walking along the streets of New York and just exploring the oddities and philosophical questions of modern life. And each episode is narrated by him and then accompanied by random or strange moments of B-roll that he's captured in his travels, and then it follows a train of thought to solve a question, like how to
get rid of scaffolding in New York City.
Exactly. Or how to get good at drinking wine, which is one of the new episodes. How to understand your dreams, I think is another one. So he takes a premise like this and then follows it to some really unexpected conclusions. It's a very hard show to describe, but it is produced by Nathan Fielder, who did Nathan for You, which is an incredible series, and I highly recommend. His comedic voice is quite unique.
It has a similar tone to John Wilson, but like more. John Wilson is, as you said, more philosophical and poignant in some cases.
Nathan for You is a show where Nathan Fielder positions himself as a business expert and goes around to struggling businesses and provides and pitches them ridiculous solutions to get them business or to solve their problems. And it comes from a much more comedic place, even if he's entirely deadpan. How To with John Wilson is not really a comedy show. It's not trying to be funny. He's just documenting strange things that happen and following it to unexpected places. And then through the magic of editing and when I say the magic of editing, through cleverness in editing, brings out comedic moments from juxtaposition without explicitly trying to be a comedy. It's a very hard show to describe, but it is terrifically enjoyable, and I highly recommend you seek it out. Did you say it's on binge?
Yeah, so I just checked in. Season 1's on binge, but it's a bit of a lag, so I'm guessing season 2 will pop up. But yeah, you told me about How to with John Wilson last year, and it was probably my favorite show last year. And it's like it hits all of the notes. I just fucking love it. I can't wait that wait to see the new season.
Yeah. All right, hit me up.
Do you want me to go? We're going toe for toe.
Yeah.
Okay. I saw 2 incredible films. I'm gonna just put them together.
Do it.
In the last few days. The first was the new Paul Thomas Anderson movie, Licorice Pizza.
I really want to see it.
Yeah, I saw it on Boxing Day when it came out with Dan and Julia and Louise. I mean, it's just, look, we knew I was going to love it no matter what, but this is just it's one of his best films. It's like a sweet story about a young entrepreneur. I want to say it's like classic PTA, but it's also not. It's using Alana Haim from the band Haim, along with, by the way, her whole family is in it, including her dad playing her dad and her mum playing her mum and her sisters playing her sisters, and Philip Seymour Hoffman's kid.
So he cast a whole family.
Yeah, I mean, her family is not a huge part of it, but like they're in it there, as playing the family. But it's just like, I don't know. It's just, Paul Thomas Anderson just makes such beautiful films and in such a unique way that I think everyone who loves any of Paul Thomas Anderson's work is going to love this. It's kind of like a mix of Punch Drunk Love and maybe Magnolia a little bit, but yeah.
What was his most recent one? Was it
Phantom Thread?
Yeah, that feels like that was 5 years ago, right?
Yeah, maybe 4 years ago.
Yeah,
but that was it's quite different in style to that. It's also maybe this one's like maybe a bit more Boogie Nights, so there's a bit more fun. It's also his funniest film by an absolute mile. It's like seriously laugh out loud funny. And just pairing in the movie section with this, another incredible film, maybe one of the best I've seen all year, is called The Worst Person in the World, which is a Norwegian film.
Huh.
And I saw it the other day by myself, and this movie just destroyed me. They had the most perfect soundtrack and score, and it's basically about a young woman going into her 30s who is a bit lost, and she knows what she doesn't want more than she knows what she wants. And she's kind of confronting all these questions about, what kind of life do I want to have? Do I want to be married? Do I want to have kids? Do I want to be single?
And did this connect with you?
It connected with me, Nick, if you can believe that, on a big level. Yeah, what kind of career do I want to have? And so I found it extremely relatable. But seriously, one of the best movies I've seen all year. It's got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes at the moment. So, and like I said, one of the greatest soundtracks. I've been thrashing the soundtrack.
It's in theaters
lately, so it's in theaters right now. Check it out. The Worst Person in the World.
I'll jump on that movie bandwagon because I've seen a couple recently. One I'm going to skim past because I know you will scoff at it. Spider-Man: No Way Home. Very satisfying film if you've seen those previous films. It's just, it's very...
Is it still Garfield? Still doing it?
No, Garfield disappeared, so it's Tom Holland. But yeah, if you liked the Spider-Mans, you've already seen it, but I just wanted to say that it made me happy and I liked it. It had some issues, but I liked it. That feels like...
It seems like they've done a lot of different Spider-Mans.
They have, and
is this a Marvel thing?
It is a Marvel thing. I could explain it to you, but I feel like you'd yawn through it.
There you go, callback.
But that is a callback. In a very, very brief sense, when Marvel was going out of business in the 90s, it sold the film rights to Spider-Man to Sony. Sony made them in the 2000s with Tobey Maguire, and again they rebooted them with Andrew Garfield, and after the failure of the Andrew Garfield's ones and the success of Marvel's movies, Marvel came back and said, hey, would you maybe want to lend him back to us and we can put him in our universe again? And they said yes, and that's where Tom Holland came along. So they've done three Spider-Mans, and if you liked these movies, then you will like No Way Home. It would make absolutely no sense if you haven't enjoyed any of those previous movies. So, but if you like those films, you've probably already seen it. So I just wanted to touch on it. Anyway, the IP one, which I'm very curious whether you will or won't see, is Matrix Resurrections. Do you have any interest in this?
I do. I've heard very mixed reviews, but I love them. I love those films. I love the premise.
Yeah, the original films are. Well, the original film is a classic. Yeah. The sequels, I still genuinely, I think there are things to like about it.
Yeah, for sure.
In terms of being a follow-up to one of the most original films of all time, that they have some strengths and some weaknesses. Yeah. But for the era, incredibly adventurous, incredibly technologically creative and inventive, and bringing in different styles of like on-screen combat to Western cinema that had been previously the Eastern styles and a little bit more obscure, but then also grounding it with a huge philosophical concept, which unfortunately somewhat became fodder for the right-wing, the red pill movement. Do you know anything about this? Red pill got co-opted as this kind of like wake up sheeple, kind of thing.
Seeing reality for what it really is.
Yeah, come join the conservative movement.
It's a cheap jump. It's a cheap co-op.
And it pisses the Wachowskis off to no end. They hate that that's an association. And without going into spoilers, because it sounds like you want to see this movie, it is something that they tackle in this fourth movie.
Really?
And
now, you're recommending the new Matrix movie?
I think you need to go see it because it is fascinating in its ambition, and in it, like, I think every Matrix sequel they have tried to subvert expectations, and this fourth film very much tries to subvert your expectations. And in fact, the first half hour of this film, my mind was so fucking blown, and I was just like, yes, please keep this up, because this is incredible. I won't go into spoilers, but I feel like we need to talk about it once you've seen it.
All right, I'll go see it. Maybe I'll go see it tonight.
Yeah, I feel like you should jump on it, because it is fascinating in the way it's working within the big budget studio system, making a franchise, like a third sequel, the fourth film in the Matrix films.
Alone. So it's just one
Wachowski, yeah. One sister, but doing it somewhat under corporate pressure, because they were going to make a fourth sequel with or without her. And they were like, we're doing Matrix again. And so she was like, well...
Is it Warner Brothers?
Warner Brothers. And she was like, well, fuck it. I guess if you're going to do it anyway, I'll do it, but I'll do it my way.
If you sink the ship, I'll
do
captain
it.
it.
And so if you go into this movie knowing that this only came about because they were going to do it anyway, and that Lana Wachowski was just like, fine, I'll do it, but
only so you don't fuck up.
But only so you don't hand it off to someone else. Right. It is so fascinating on that level. It's like I can't even talk about it till you've seen it. But it's it's incredibly meta. It's incredibly self-aware. It swerves in a place where I'm like completely unexpected. And then I have to talk about a lot of it once it comes through. But
I'm excited that you're recommending it, because I was like, almost at the point where I was like, maybe I'll give it a miss, because people had. And it
is going to be incredibly divisive. And again, I can't talk about it because I don't want to spoil the things that it do.
I'll see it by the next one. We'll talk about it next one.
But let me just say that the reason I think it's divisive is because while being a Matrix movie, it's also not being a Matrix movie. And so anyone who goes in there wanting it to be the Matrix movie is going to be disappointed because it isn't doing the things the previous ones did. Anyway, go see it. Let me know and when
And
we'll
Keanu
talk
Reeves
about it.
has long hair.
Keanu Reeves keeping that John Wick look going.
Yeah. By the way, how crazy is it that two brothers are both trans and then become sisters? Like, what are the odds of that?
I don't know.
That's crazy.
I mean, you'd have to think it's a genetic thing, right? Where there's a certain biological or chemical.
I guess when else are you going to hear about it? But what like happening within a family that there's two trans people within a family, but unless they're famous. But to me, it just seems wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, my last rec is, and close your ears for this, Nick. The new Louis C.K. special is unbelievable. One of the best one he's done in ages, and it's called Sorry, and he's got Sorry in big neon lights behind him. It's $10 US on his website. He doesn't go to any of the stuff. Just solid jokes, baby, and probably the best special of the year. Just good, solid jokes. Laugh. I watched it with the whole family. The whole family except for Mum in stitches.
Except for Mum.
Mum
Why
hated
is
it.
that?
Well, she wasn't a big. There was a lot of dick jokes and
Sure.
and a lot of masturbation jokes, and a lot of. No, I'm joking. It was just a bit vulgar for Mum, but yeah, I would, if you're into Louis C.K.
Still.
I think you should watch this. Yeah. Are you gonna watch it?
No.
Okay. Well, it's really funny.
Okay.
Anyway, what's your third rec?
I sort of already done mine. It was Succession, How to with John, Matrix Resurrections.
Well, there you go.
I'm just thinking if there's anything. Oh, this is not a rec because you won't watch it. And I'm not actually sure that.
Wait, our recs don't have to be for each other.
No, yeah. I guess what. Okay, I'll just say it anyway.
For the
most recent,
for the three listeners that we have.
the most recent Doctor Who special, the New Year's Eve special that just dropped a couple of days ago, stars Aisling B, and she is fucking fantastic in it. She is
Dude,
so.
She is the love. Can I tell you this? Aisling B is the love of my life.
She is.
Did you actually know that?
I didn't know that, but I do remember your affection for her.
She is my number one Baberino
celebrity
crush.
Yeah. She is in this I mean, I would almost say give it a go.
She's
but
so funny.
I don't know. She's incredibly funny in it. She's incredibly likable. She's also like nicely catty. Like they haven't sawn off any rough edges. Like she gets to be her kind of slightly edgy self at points. It's like a time loop kind of sci-fi adventure with Aisling B trying to escape a time loop. I don't know if you're going to watch it. Maybe you'll give it a go and see, but
I won't.
I don't think you will. But it
I like talking about Ash.
It was a minor. It was a high spot in a season of Doctor Who, which has been pretty rough. But anyway, I just wanted to give her a shout out because I know that you like her, and I know that that she's good in this. So
big crush, and she's liked one of our posts, by the way,
she
as
has,
well.
She has because
she
you
has
tagged her
genuinely
in
liked.
it, not
Yes,
because she saw something we posted independently.
I don't give a shit, dude. She liked it.
Yeah,
that's true.
I know it's. I wasn't doubting it.
I love you, Aisling. If you're listening, I love you.
Definitely not listening.
You don't know, dude.
She's absolutely.
She's
never listened.
You don't know that, Aisling. If you're listening, I love you. Merry Christmas. I'm gonna watch your new Doctor. What is it? Doctor Who. And Merry Christmas. And also, you know what? Also the best part about this time of year, the big fat quiz. Are you a big fat quiz guy?
I'm a big fat quiz guy.
You're a big fat quiz.
I'm a big fat quiz guy.
Big fat quiz.
James
fat quiz
Acaster this year.
No.
Yeah, girl.
What? because I had a quick look through YouTube. What?
That's your Home Improvement impression.
That's my Tim Allen. Oh, James Acast is on
Yeah.
the Big Fat Quiz of the Year this year.
You go.
Guess what I'm doing tonight?
Going to the Matrix.
I don't know yet. And I'm ordering some fried chicken. You know what my new thing is? I've really perked up in the back 15 minutes of this podcast.
Because we started talking about food and TV.
Yeah, funny things. I mean, we were talking about smoking, but I'm really looking forward to this 25-minute episode.
Once we cut out all the stuff that was boring and dumb.
But Korean fried chicken that's like sweet and spicy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
You don't
I'm
have
a
to tell
newcomer
me.
to it.
You come to Christchurch sometime, and you should this year. I encourage it.
I should, actually.
What do you got keeping you
I'll
in
bring you
Melbourne? A girlfriend. Come over to
What?
Christchurch, and I'll take you to a Korean fried chicken joint. Monster Chicken here. Mwah.
Oh, all right. And I'll bring you over some Omicron.
Yeah, please.
Be nice.
You might as well get it over with.
It's called Monster Chicken.
Monster Chicken.
Yum.
Oh, I really feel like it right now, but that's not what I'm going to have for dinner.
What are you going to have?
Got some leftover curry. Made an Indian curry on Saturday.
What kind?
It was meant to be a paneer masala, but I swapped out the cheese for chicken. So it's not really anything related to that.
So why don't you just say chicken masala?
Well, because the flavors are different than a chicken masala. It's a paneer masala that I put chicken in.
Why is
You know what? Fuck you. Fuck off. Just get fucked. Fuck off.
I love the way you say fuck off. Fuck off.
Because I
You do it like an old man. You do it
I
like
don't want my mum to hear me.
You do it like Roy in you kind of have like a Roy from Succession vibe.
Roy? They're all Roys.
Who's the old one?
Logan.
Logan Roy. I thought they're all
Fuck off.
I've been calling them old Roy. I've just been going,
It's so
"You
weird
remind
that
me
they
of
made
Roy."
a TV show where all of the main characters are named Roy.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? Nick went to school with Roy. He was in a play with her. I've been telling everyone that about
I
your Sarah
remember you
Snook.
saying that. Okay, we need to end this now.
All right, we'll just end it. All right. Okay. Good ending. Ended like we started.
I don't think they heard how we started because we deleted all of it.
Oh god, this is gonna be fun for me to edit. Oh wait, you're editing this week.
Fuck off!